For how much Kylo Ren seems to idolize his grandfather, it's difficult to ignore the facts of what transpired during the final moments of Anakin Skywalker's life. By destroying Emperor Palpatine, Darth Vader was essentially eliminated. And despite still being in the iconic helmet and mechanical suit, it was indeed Anakin Skywalker, having now turned away from the dark side, who died in his son's arms on the second Death Star. And with the Sith now destroyed, generations of Jedi shared a victorious moment together at the dawn of what they hoped to be a new era of peace in the galaxy. That didn't happen, obviously. At least not for long. 30 years later, bad guys are still making and using massive superweapons, and the Jedi appear on the verge of extinction yet again. So with a younger member of the Skywalker family tree falling for the trap of working for the bad guys under a sinister dark side master, just how did the Jedi allow this to happen? Throughout the Star Wars timeline, we've seen several deceased Jedi offer guidance to others through the power of the Force. We also know that Anakin was among those capable of manifesting himself as a Force ghost. And although it seems that Kylo Ren is only focused on his grandfather Darth Vader rather than his grandfather Anakin, you can't help but wonder why Anakin's Force ghost hasn't stepped in to try and set Kylo Ren straight with where he's going wrong. Well, some people have speculated that Kylo Ren has indeed already spoken with Anakin, or more specifically, Darth Vader. We're tipped off a little bit to this by the line,
"Show me again the power of the darkness."
Knowing what we know about Force Ghost though, and that it's basically an ability exclusive to those on the light side of the Force, we know that this was not a direct conversation between Kylo Ren and Darth Vader. This is more likely a result of the darkness and evil that has been known to surround Sith artifacts. And it's very likely that whatever darkness Ben Solo might have ever had within him was amplified significantly by coming across something like the helmet of Darth Vader. Also likely building up an even closer attachment to it based on the familial connection. Regardless, as things stand, the Jedi, and particularly Anakin, haven't been able to get through to Kylo Ren. But why is this the case? There's a handful of different theories as to why, so let's run down several of them. Theory 1. The darkness in Ben Solo was enough to suppress the voices of the Jedi. We obviously don't know the exact situations and scenarios that allowed Supreme Leader Snoke to tempt Ben Solo over to the dark side, but one would have to think that much like a younger Anakin Skywalker, Ben may very well have had a desire for power, a need to feel above his peers in the Force. Anakin went through his training with the idea in his head that he was some kind of chosen one, and it could be safe to assume that Ben felt like he should have been stronger than others based on his family tree. Perhaps simply by having that darkness in him, that was enough for him to silence the voices of the few Jedi capable of manifesting themselves after death. Theory 2. The Force itself has gone dormant. The title of Episode 7 is The Force Awakens, after all, and one has to wonder if almost all the influence in the galaxy from the light side of the Force had gone dormant in a way for a period of time prior to the events of Episode 7. This could be due to reasons we can't explain, or even possibly just had to do with an overall lack of Jedi out there in the galaxy. And what if the ability to manifest themselves went dormant as well for the likes of Yoda, Obi-Wan, and Anakin? Along with that, their ability to influence Ben Solo in a positive way would have been diminished, allowing Snoke to tempt him without much or any obstruction. Theory 3. Anakin has spoken to Kylo. Kylo just refuses to listen. This theory would mean that Anakin did indeed make an effort to reach out to his grandson and keep him from the dark side. Kylo, though, tends to view Anakin Skywalker as weak, someone capable of immense power who spent too much time not using it for his own gain. He chooses to view his grandfather as the Iron Fist version that struck fear into the entire galaxy, with Kylo aiming to carry on that legacy himself. This theory holds a little bit of extra water too when we factor in this quote from J.J. Abrams on the matter, stating, "Kylo Ren idolizes Darth Vader, not Anakin Skywalker. He idolizes what Vader represents and what Vader was trying to do. The idea that Vader didn't succeed, if you look at it from Ren's point of view, he was seduced by the enemy and failed because of that seduction. So the idea is that Ren wants to complete the thing that Vader started." While this may confirm Kylo Ren's motivation, it still leaves open the idea that Anakin ever indeed communicated with him. Theory 4. Anakin couldn't appear as a Force ghost to anybody other than Luke. When uncovering the secret to manifesting oneself after death, Qui-Gon Jinn was told that doing so required absolute selflessness from that person. And although Anakin was nice as a little kid and eventually pretty much sacrificed himself to save his son, it's hard to undo all those years of ruthlessness to be considered absolutely selfless. But wait, I'm sure you're thinking, he appeared to Luke. We all saw it. And that's where things get a little bit tricky. Qui-Gon Jinn, who essentially discovered the ability to manifest oneself after death, never fully mastered that ability. The best he had was speaking as a disembodied voice. However, during the Mortis trilogy of the Clone Wars series, he does indeed appear in the physical sense due to the immense presence of the Force on the planet Mortis. So with there being loose exceptions to the rule of absolute selflessness, it's not outlandish to assume that only Luke is able to ever see Anakin during that one moment. Between their obvious deep connection between both the Force and as father and son, along with the Sith having just been essentially extinguished, perhaps Anakin was able to appear in only that very rare moment in time and never again. And notice that even as Luke is looking on at these three very powerful Jedi, his own sister Leia seems to not see them at all like Luke does. And if Leia, being one of the strongest fighters for what's good and right in the galaxy, can't see Anakin in that moment, it's probably safe to assume that Anakin isn't able to appear to Leia's eventual son, who is being tempted by the dark side. So that's a few of my theories on where the hell Anakin's been throughout this whole thing, and if you have any theories of your own, make sure to leave them in the comments below. Be sure to hit this video with a like button, subscribe if you want more videos like this, and lastly everybody, thank you so much for watching.